The rain poured mercilessly over the city streets, drumming against the pavement like a relentless reminder of fate's cruelty. A man sat alone on a park bench, his tattered hoodie pulled over his head, concealing eyes that once held the fire of ambition. People walked past him, barely sparing him a glance, just another nameless drifter lost in the city's underbelly. Laughter rang out nearby. A group of well-dressed professionals stood outside a sleek glass skyscraper, pointing at him with mocking grins. "Look at him," one sneered. "Probably hasn't worked a day in his life." "Or lost everything," another chuckled. "Poor choices, poor man." The man didn't flinch. He merely smirked, eyes glinting beneath the shadows of his hood. If only they knew. 5 years ago, he had everything. A name that commanded respect, Daniel Cross. A fortune that made him untouchable. And a company that thrived under his ruthless decisions. Until one choice changed everything. It had been a normal day in his pristine glass-walled office when she walked in Maya Carter, one of his best employees. She stood before him, hands shaking as she held out a letter. "I'm pregnant," she said softly. "I need a little time off." Daniel barely glanced at her. "Maya, you know how this company operates. No room for weakness." She swallowed. "Sir, I've given everything to this job. You're fired," he cut in, his voice as cold as the city skyline behind him. He had no patience for distractions, no tolerance for setbacks, and certainly no interest in someone else's personal problems. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded, turned, and walked out. Just like that, she was gone. Daniel never thought about her again. Until now. 5 years had passed. 5 years in which everything changed. The board betrayed him. His most trusted advisor sold him out. In the blink of an eye, his empire crumbled, and the man who once had it all was left with nothing. He disappeared from the world that once revered him, retreating into the shadows, where people only saw what they expected a broken man. But they were wrong. Daniel had spent those years watching, waiting. He was not the man they thought he was. Beneath the worn-out hoodie and hollow eyes lay something far more dangerous: knowledge. And knowledge was power. He leaned back on the bench, watching the people around him, unnoticed, unassuming. That's when he saw her. Maya. She stood across the street, holding the hand of a small boy. His heart stopped. The child had his eyes. Shock rippled through him as he gripped the edge of the bench, struggling to process what he was seeing. 100 thoughts clashed in his mind. Was it possible? Had he truly been so blind? His pulse pounded as he watched Maya kneel and brush the boy's dark hair. They were speaking, but he couldn't hear the words over the storm in his head. Then, as if sensing his presence, the child turned. Their eyes met. A strange, undeniable connection sparked between them. Daniel barely had time to register it before the unexpected happened. Men in suits emerged from a black car, surrounding Maya and the boy. Her expression turned to fear. "Get in," one of the men ordered. She shook her head, clutching her son protectively. Daniel's fists clenched. He may have abandoned his past, but one thing was clear. Someone was coming for them. And for the first time in years, he knew exactly what he had to do. Because Daniel Cross wasn't just a man who lost everything. He was a man who had learned to take it all back. And this time, he wouldn't lose again.